We're dreaming of reaching our first 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe and be the first to discover new stories every day. Her message came in at 7:14 p.m. Need a little time away from everything. I'll be back in a few days. No call. No explanation. Not even a happy birthday. Just that. I stood there in the kitchen, staring at the phone screen like it might update, like maybe it wasn't real. My birthday cake sat on the counter, untouched. 2 candles flickering, crooked. A bottle of cheap champagne sweating on the table. I'd set the table for 2, out of habit or maybe hope. The lasagna in the oven was starting to burn, but I didn't move. Just stared at that message. She needed time away from everything. Apparently, I fell under everything. And I just stood there, still wearing the button-down shirt I only ever pulled out once a year. The one she bought me 2 birthdays ago. I laughed once out loud. Just a short breath. Not funny really. But hell, what else could I do? You ever get that? That cold flush up your back when it hits you. You're not even on the list anymore. Let me take it from the top. Name's Jerry. I work at my dad's auto shop just outside town. Been there since I was 15, officially since I was 19. Grease under the nails, busted knuckles, coffee in the morning so strong it could strip paint. That's my world. Always has been. No suits, no office chairs. Just torque wrenches, busted timing belts, and the satisfaction of turning over a rebuilt engine and hearing her purr like a cat in heat. My dad's old school. Doesn't talk much, but when he does, it sticks. He built the shop from the ground up, and I guess I never really saw a reason to leave. Fixing things makes sense to me. You find the problem, you get your tools, you put in the work. And when it's done, it's done. Clean. Solved. Would be nice if people worked the same way. I met Kate on a Thursday. I remember because Thursdays were usually dead, midweek slump, post-paycheck rush not yet started. She walked in with her cousin Mia, said her car was making a whining noise. Turned out she left a plastic bag stuck near the axle, nothing major. But she stood there with her arms crossed, watching me work like I was building a rocket, not jacking up a Civic. She had this light about her back then. Big eyes. Calm smile. The kind that made you forget your hands were covered in oil. She laughed when I offered her a chair with a ripped cushion and called it the VIP lounge. Next week she showed up again. This time alone. Check engine lights on, she said, but there wasn't anything wrong. Not really. That turned into coffee. Then dinner. Then she started dropping by just to sit near the garage bay and sketch. She was an illustrator, part-time at a print shop, doing commissions on the side. She started drawing little cartoons of me fixing cars, said I looked like a friendly bear with a wrench. Corny. Yeah, but it made me feel seen. Like she really got me. A few months in, we moved in together. Small rental, back road, quiet. Mornings were simple. Eggs, toast, coffee. She'd curl up on the couch with her sketch pad, legs under a blanket, while I watched weather reports before heading to the shop. Evenings were beer and cheap takeout, or sometimes we'd go down to Malone's and split a basket of wings. She used to wait up for me. If I worked late, she'd be curled on the sofa, half asleep, with a reheated plate ready. I remember one night, maybe 6 months in, I came home beat, covered in dust and frustration. That transmission job had kicked my ass. And she just got up, walked over, pressed her cheek to mine, and said, "My bear fixed the monster." Silly. But that kind of stuff? It stayed with me. I really thought we had something solid. The change didn't come all at once. That's what makes it tricky. It creeps in like a slow leak. At first, you just notice the floor's a little wet. Then one day your whole damn engine's flooded. I think it started with the phone. Sounds stupid, but it never left her hand. Always flipped screen down when I walked into the room. Notifications silenced. She used to show me her sketches, her messages with clients. But then, locked, hidden, tucked away. I asked once, real casual, "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just tired." "You sure? You've been quiet lately." "Jerry, not this again. Don't start. Don't start." Like I was picking a fight by asking if she was okay. I didn't push. That's the thing about me. I'm not one to poke the bear unless I'm sure the bear deserves it. I gave her space. Figured maybe it was work stress or hormones or whatever people say when they're trying to explain what they can't fix. Then the touch stopped. You ever live with someone and realize it's been a week, 2, since they touched you at all? Not in a bedroom way. Just a hand on your arm. A kiss on the cheek. Hell, even bumping shoulders in the hallway. I went to hug her one evening while she was making tea. She flinched, pulled back like my hands were cold. "Not now," she said. "I'm in the middle of something." She was stirring a tea bag. I stood there for a second, hands hanging like I'd forgotten what to do with them. I remember thinking, all right, maybe just a bad moment. Everyone gets tired. But they started stacking. Those moments. One on top of the other. Until the house felt full of ghosts and static. One night, her cousin Mia, the same one who brought her into the shop that first day, came by to drop off a jacket. She caught me in the driveway. "Hey, Jerry, everything okay with Kate? I raised an eyebrow. Why? She seems off. Distant. I asked if she wanted to go out last weekend, and she said she needed space from everyone. Yeah, she's been quiet at home too. Mia looked down, shifted on her feet. I don't want to overstep, but talk to her. She's been acting like she's not even here. That stuck with me, because I'd been feeling the same damn thing, but I hadn't said it out loud. She wasn't here. Not really. She'd sit across from me at dinner and scroll her phone under the table. Say she had to check on a commission, then disappear into the bedroom for an hour. No explanations. Just silence. I tried once. Sat her down on the couch. Kate, I don't know what's going on with you, but this feels like we're strangers. She looked at me. Not angry. Just blank. I'm tired, Jerry. That's all. Tired of what? Me. I didn't say that. No, but you're not saying anything else either. She sighed and got up. Just left the room. That was it. No yelling. No tears. Just gone. So when my birthday rolled around, I was already bracing myself. Still, I hoped. You get that, right? Even when the ship's taking water, part of you still thinks maybe it'll float. Maybe she'll come home early, light the candles, smile like old times. Instead, I got a text. Need a little time away from everything. She didn't even say my name. And you know what's funny? I still waited. I sat there, the lasagna burning in the oven, cake melting, TV buzzing with some game show I wasn't watching, just waiting. Thinking maybe she'd show up late. She didn't. The next morning, I didn't go to work. Didn't even text my dad. Just called and let it ring until he picked up, his voice half groggy, half annoyed. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna stay home today. You sick? No. Just didn't sleep much. A pause. What? You and Kate had too much fun, huh? He chuckled. I smiled at the wall. That kind of dead, stretched out smile. Yeah, something like that. All right. I'll see you tomorrow then. Yeah. Hung up. Sat on the edge of the bed. The sheets still smelled like her shampoo, something with rosemary and coconut. The stupid kind that sticks to everything, even when they're gone. I didn't shower. Just walked around the house in the shirt I'd put on the night before, untucked, wrinkled, sauce stain near the button. My birthday shirt. The lasagna was still on the counter, blackened at the edges. Cake half melted. Champagne flat. I threw it all out. By noon, I found myself standing in the hallway, staring at the photos on the wall. Trips we'd taken. Birthdays. A dumb one where we dressed up as a mechanic and an angel for Halloween. She wore that white dress with wings and kept calling me her fixer. I took them all down. Every frame. Every memory with a hook in it. Packed them in a box and shoved it into the closet. That part was easy. Harder was figuring out what the hell to do next. She was gone for 3 days. 3 whole days. No calls, no new texts. Just silence. And you know what? I didn't chase. Didn't ask where she was. Didn't scroll her socials. Didn't ask Mia. Didn't care. I think something in me just shut off. I cleaned the house. Not like I was nesting or anything. More like reclaiming it. Took all her mugs out of the cupboard, put them in a separate box. Her notebooks, the stack of sketch pads she never finished. The half-used bath stuff. Drawer by drawer. Shelf by shelf. If it looked like her, smelled like her, felt like her, it went in a box. I slept on the couch. Couldn't stand the bedroom. First night was quiet. Second night, I started sleeping better. Third night, I sat on the porch with a beer and didn't think about her at all. She came back on the 4th day. Pulled into the driveway mid-afternoon. I heard the car before I saw her. The wheels crunching gravel, the doors shutting soft. I didn't get up. Just sat at the table, flipping through a flyer from the hardware store like I gave a damn about socket sets. She walked in like it was a Tuesday. Set her bag by the door. Didn't say anything. I didn't either. She stood there a second, then finally asked, "You're not at work?" "Nope." "Okay." She looked around, like she was checking to see what changed. I didn't play the game. She walked past me into the kitchen, opened the fridge, stared for a moment like she forgot what she wanted. Closed it. Turned to me. I looked up. "Kate." I said, calm, even. "I'm done." She blinked. "Done with what?" "With this. Us. Whatever this has been the last few months." She didn't say anything. "I'm putting together paperwork. I'll keep the house. You can take the cars. We'll sort the rest. But I'm not gonna live like this anymore." Still silence. Then she just nodded. Like I'd told her the weather. "Okay. I'll pack. That's probably best." She looked at the clock. "Can I have an hour or so?" "Take 2. And that was it. She didn't cry. Didn't yell. Didn't ask why. Just went to the bedroom and zipped up her life. When she pulled out of the driveway for the last time, I didn't watch her go. Instead, I picked up her spare key from the counter, dropped it in the kitchen drawer, and closed it with a satisfying click. Then I opened a beer, sat down, and listened to the quiet. Everything was still there. The walls, the light, the rug she picked out from that overpriced home store. But it felt different. It felt mine. After she left, I didn't rush into anything. Didn't try to heal or reinvent myself. I just went to work. Dad didn't ask questions. Just gave me an extra truck job and said, mind the torque sequence on that rear axle. It's easy to strip. I nodded, grateful. My coworkers didn't say much either. A couple guys noticed I looked tired. I just said, long week, and left it there. Nights were simple. TV, sandwich, beer, repeat. At first, I kept waiting for some big emotional crash. Like I was supposed to break down in the shower or scream into a pillow. Never happened. The more time passed, the more I realized I hadn't been happy in a long time. I'd just gotten used to the silence, to the cold side of the bed, to feeling like a house guest in my own home. It's weird how fast you can adapt to being unwanted until one day, you just don't want them either. One weekend, about 6 months later, I ran into her cousin Mia again, this time at the gas station. She saw me filling up the truck and waved. Hey, she said. You look better. I smiled. I feel better. She leaned against the pump. She never really talked about it, Mia said. After she left. Just said it didn't work out. That's fair, I shrugged. She still draws you, you know. You're in her sketches. Just less happy. That hit weird. Like I'd been turned into a character I didn't get to write. Figures, I said. She always did like fiction. Mia smirked, then softened. I'm glad you're okay, Jerry. I'm better than okay. And that was the truth. A couple months after she left, I started sleeping in the bedroom again. It took a while. At first, I just passed out on the couch with the TV buzzing in the background. But one night I walked in there, not thinking, sat on the edge of the bed and realized it didn't smell like her anymore. The pillow wasn't shaped the way it used to be. The space was just a space again. That night, I slept better than I had in a year. Funny how that works. You think healing looks like fireworks or breakthroughs. Turns out it's just brushing your teeth at midnight and not feeling like you're forgetting something. I didn't rush into anything after the split. No dating apps, no figuring myself out. None of that dramatic midlife crisis stuff. I just worked. I picked up extra shifts, helped my dad expand the shop's backroom, organized all our tools by size and brand. Stupid stuff. Tedious, even. But it helped. Routine was my rehab. I started going to this little burger joint off Route 9, Skips. Nothing fancy. Bar stools, squeaky booths, jukebox that hadn't worked since 2015. But they had killer fries and cold beer. That was enough. Most nights I went alone. Sat in the corner booth, same one every time. Ordered the double cheeseburger, no lettuce, extra onions. The waitress, Carla, started calling it the Jerry Special. I didn't talk much. Just ate, watched whatever game was on, nodded at the regulars. Then one night, she sat across from me. No warning, no invitation. Just dropped into the seat across the booth like we'd planned it. Mind if I sit? She asked after she was already seated. I blinked. You kind of already are. She grinned. I'm Lily. I looked her over. Not flashy. Simple. Dark hair pulled into a braid. Cardigan that looked a bit too warm for the weather. She had a book tucked under her arm. Something with a fox on the cover. You usually pick strangers to sit with? I asked. She shrugged. Only the ones who order fries like they mean it. That made me chuckle. First real one in a while. Turned out she worked down the road at the used bookstore. Elm and Spine, it was called. I'd driven past it 100 times and never gone in. She was the owner's niece, helped run the place. Said she always noticed me at Skips, figured I was either really boring or really interesting, and decided to find out which. Still deciding? I asked, finishing off my beer. Oh, definitely leaning boring, she teased. I like that. No pressure. No weird tension. Just natural. We started meeting up once a week. At first, it was accidental. She'd show up at Skips, slide into the booth, order a root beer and some fries, and talk about books I'd never read. Then it turned into routine. Friday nights. Same booth. Same banter. She asked about the shop. I told her about blown head gaskets and rusted exhausts. She asked why I never got tired of fixing things. Because it makes sense, I said. Things break. You figure out why. You fix them. That's it. She looked at me for a long second. Not everything broken wants to be fixed. I didn't respond to that. Didn't need to. One night, after a few months of those meetups, we ended up walking back to her car together. It was cold out. Sharp wind. She pulled her jacket tighter. I hesitated, then offered. Want me to walk you to your door? She looked up at me. You're not really a rush into things kind of guy, are you? Nope. She smiled. Good. That next week, I found myself fixing up the backyard. Not for her. Not really. Just because. Cleared out the weeds, reseeded the lawn, bought a couple of cheap solar lights, and lined the walkway. Simple stuff. She came by one Saturday afternoon, holding a Tupperware of something that smelled like cinnamon. I made banana bread. It's either that or a brick. It was delicious. We sat on the porch and split it, drinking coffee and watching the neighbor's dog bark at nothing for a solid 10 minutes. You miss her? she asked suddenly. I didn't pretend to not know who she meant. Some days I miss the version of her that existed when things were good. But I don't miss how it ended. Or what she turned into. She nodded, quiet. You? She smiled sadly. Same. I had someone once. Didn't end messy. Just faded. We sat in silence for a bit. I think that's worse sometimes, I said. Yeah, she replied. Like watching something you love turn into something you don't recognize. I never told her much about the birthday night. Only once did it come up. She was thumbing through a sketchbook at her shop, letting me flip pages. These yours? Some, she nodded. Some are customers. That one's mine. It was a simple sketch. A man sitting alone at a table, candles burning low, food untouched. Just shadows around him. Empty chairs. I felt something tighten in my chest. Been there, I said softly. She looked up. Yeah. Yeah. She didn't press. Just nodded and closed the sketchbook. One night, I ran into Kate again. It was at the hardware store. I was grabbing paint. Finally decided to redo the bedroom wall she picked out in some ugly olive green. I turned down the aisle, and there she was. Same eyes. Hair shorter now. She wore a loose sweater and had earbuds in. She saw me and stopped. Hey. Hey. We stood there for a moment. Nothing around us but shelves of screws and paint samples. You look good, she said. Not like a compliment. More like a fact. Thanks. You painted the kitchen? Not yet. A pause. You happy? She asked. I shrugged. I'm not waiting on anyone to text me on my birthday anymore. That's something. She flinched. Just a tiny shift in her jaw. I was in a bad place, she said. We both were. Difference is, I tried to stay. I know. She looked down. I wasn't ready for real. I thought I was. But I wasn't. That's not my problem anymore, Kate. She looked up, blinking faster. I just wanted to say sorry. For how I left. For everything. I nodded. All right. Silence. Is there someone else? She asked. Not someone else, I said. Just someone better for where I'm at now. She nodded again. Gave a small smile. Take care, Jerry. You too. And that was it. No drama. No scene. Just shelves full of paint. And two people who used to share a life, now sharing 5 minutes of awkward closure. Spring came late that year. Cold mornings, mud everywhere, frost clinging to the truck windshield like it forgot winter was supposed to be over. But I didn't mind it. I liked the quiet. The in-between. I'd go out early, before the shop opened, sit on the porch with a thermos of black coffee, and just listen. Birds, mostly. Wind brushing through the dry trees. The kind of silence that didn't feel heavy. There were no more ghosts in the house. No trace of her shampoo in the bathroom. No framed photos haunting the hallway. Even the bed didn't feel like a reminder anymore. Just a bed. Some nights, Lily stayed over. Not always. Just sometimes. She never tried to change anything. Never rearranged drawers or commented on the old couch. She'd just sit with me on the porch, barefoot, holding tea, and talk about whatever she'd read that week. Once, she pulled her knees up, rested her chin on them, and asked, You ever think about what it all meant? That whole chapter. I thought for a second. Used to. Not anymore. Why? Because there's no test on it. No bonus points for figuring it out. It happened. It's done. She smiled soft. That's a healthy way to see it. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just tired of dragging dead weight through the years. She laughed at that. It felt good to make someone laugh again. At the shop, things were smooth. We hired a new kid, Eric, fresh out of tech school, eager, a little too fast with the impact wrench. Dad liked him. I started training him on diagnostics, showed him how to listen to engines instead of just reading the scanner. You and the wife thinking about kids? He asked one day while we were working on a Subaru. I just shook my head. Don't have a wife. Oh, sorry man. I just figured. I smirked. Nah, you're good. I had one. Didn't take. He looked embarrassed for asking, but I didn't mind. I wasn't hiding it anymore. It happened. It ended. Now it was just part of the background. Like an old scar. Doesn't hurt, but it's still there. Skips became less of a hiding spot and more of a tradition. Friday nights, same booth, same routine. Lily'd bring a book, I'd bring a good appetite, and we'd trade stories like poker chips. Sometimes I'd tell her about weird customers. The guy who thought putting Sprite in his radiator would help with overheating. Or the lady convinced her horn was broken because it didn't sound happy. Other times she'd tell me about regulars at the shop. People who came in just to feel the pages, never buying anything. Lonely old men, nervous teenagers, a woman who always asked if they had anything with dragons, but never took a book home. One night, Lily looked at me over her glass of root beer and said, You know what I like about you? You're quiet, but you don't leave space empty. I didn't really know what that meant. Still don't. But I liked the way she said it. About a year after Kate left, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, just my name in her handwriting. Inside was a short note. Apology again. A few lines about how she hoped I was well. She'd moved out of state. Said she was starting fresh. I read it once, folded it, and tossed it in the drawer with receipts and junk mail. Didn't even think about it after. I didn't need closure. I'd already had it. On a porch with banana bread, not in a letter filled with recycled regrets. One Sunday, Lily and I took a drive. Just nowhere in particular. Windows down, her hair whipping in the wind, radio playing some acoustic cover of a song I didn't know. We ended up at this little roadside antique shop. Dusty place, smelled like mothballs and old books. She wandered off to look at trinkets, and I found myself flipping through a bin of records I'd never buy. Then I saw it, a picture frame. Wooden, carved edges, simple. Same one Kate and I used to have for our first trip photo. I picked it up, held it. Then I put it back down and walked away. Didn't even think twice. A few months later, Lily moved in. No speech. No big decision. It just sort of happened. One weekend, she left a toothbrush. Next weekend, some books. Then it was a drawer. Then half a closet. She kept her own apartment for a while, just in case. But we both knew she wasn't going back. The house felt different with her in it. Warmer, somehow. Fuller. Not louder, just alive. She played music while she cooked. Sometimes hummed while brushing her hair. I'd come home from work and hear the sound of her walking barefoot across the floor, and it didn't feel like someone was intruding. It felt like someone belonged. That was new. One evening, she found the old box in the closet, the one with the photos and comics and memories. She didn't say anything, just brought it out, placed it on the table, and looked at me. You want to go through this or toss it? I looked at the box, thought for maybe half a second. Toss it. She smiled. Okay. I burned it that weekend. All of it. Out back in the fire pit. Pages curled, photos blackened, and the past turned to ash. Felt damn good. You know, sometimes I think about that night, my birthday. The candles burning down. The lasagna going cold. That text. I don't dwell on it. But I think about how far I've come from it. How something that hurt that much could be the exact thing that freed me. Like a door slamming shut just so you finally look for the exit on the other side. I don't carry that pain around anymore. I remember it, sure. I'd be a fool to pretend it didn't happen. But I don't let it steer me. I got a new life now. Not perfect, but real, honest, steady. And this time, I'm not asking if I matter. I'm not guessing. I'm not checking my phone, wondering if I'm part of someone's everything or not. This time I know, and I'm good with that. Anyway, that's how it went. I'm not saying I handled everything perfectly, but I did what I felt was right. For me, finally. What would you have done? Would you have waited longer? Said more?